I'm Andrea Giles, and you're listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, episode number 81, Developing Friendships After Infidelity with Jewel Hohman. Hello, and welcome to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, where courageous women learn not only to heal from their spouse's betrayal, but to become the boldest, truest, most decisive, and confident versions of themselves ever. If you know there's more for you than the life you're currently living, but don't quite know how to get there, you are in the right place. Stick around to learn how to create a life that will knock your own socks off. Is it possible? It is, and I'm here to show you how. I'm your host, Andrea Giles. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Hello, everybody. I'm happy to be back with you today. And today I have a special guest. Jewel Hohman is here with me today. And Jewel is a coach that helps people with friendships. Jewel is here to talk with you today talk with me today about the significance and importance of friendship. And I love what we're going to bring to you today. I'm so excited to bring it to you because I know that for many of my clients, as they're navigating this huge shift of infidelity, it can feel like such an identity crisis that many of their relationships change. And so we're going to talk today about friendships, the role that friendships can play in healing and moving forward and building a life that you step into beyond infidelity. So before we jump into conversation, Jewel, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
So happy to be here. From the second I met Andrea at our, conference, I guess.
Yep. Yeah.
But I just adored you and adored your work. I think it's so powerful. So I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah. So a little bit about me. I am a friendship and connection coach, as Andrea said. And so I help people feel more secure in their relationships and their friendships, and specifically learn how to make friends as an adult. Most people know how to meet people, but they don't know how to make friends, especially the deep, almost juicy friendships that so many of us crave.
Beautiful. I love that. That's so important. Okay, so let's just dive in. So as you know, my listeners are working through some kind of breach of trust in their marriages, right? And sometimes what happens is it can make us question all of our relationships. One big dynamic that I have seen and that I experienced myself is that some people that I thought I was close with kind of disappeared, and other people that I wasn't necessarily super close to totally showed up. So tell me what you think about that. Why do we do this? Tell me your thoughts on that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So first and foremost, the trust part. I have this example and I don't have it all the way fleshed out and it might be a little crazy. So bear with me. But
sure.
I was thinking about this. And so when we have a breach of trust, whether that be, right, especially in your audience case with infidelity, it kind of reminds me of what happened with Pearl Harbor. Mm-hmm. So bear with me. There was an attack on Pearl Harbor, and then tons of Americans started, harassing or really bullying or hurting physically other Asian Americans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we can look back now and we could be like, that makes no sense. Right? Those people, those Asian Americans, weren't tied to what happened in Pearl Harbor. That's so ridiculous. Yep. So what I want to offer for people is just because you do have this breach of trust, your brain is going to really want to try to keep you safe. And so it's going to look out for danger. So it might look at all of the other relationships in your life and be like, okay, where can I not trust this person here? Where do they not have my back here? And I want to offer, it's almost just as ridiculous as people attacking Asian Americans after Pearl Harbor.
I love that.
That's what your brain's doing.
Yeah. I think that's a great example and a very timely example with things that are happening in the world right now. It's easy to just assume the worst about a lot of people when we have a breach of trust, right? And to scan out and go, well, if I can't trust this person, then can I trust these people over here, right? So I think that I appreciate you normalizing it. It is a normal thing. It's a normal thing to kind of wonder, well, what is real, right? What is real? But I want to hear from you just why you coach who you do. Like, I want to know why friendship is so important that you have built your career on it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, for me personally, it was something that I thought about often, even when I was in like a college setting where maybe
Okay.
I was around other people all of the time. I just didn't feel secure or safe. I often felt really anxious. I was really overanalyzing myself. And I did one or two things. I would self isolate, or I would try to compensate and try to be friends with everybody. And when you're trying to be friends with everybody, you're close to nobody, right? So
Yep.
I really did this work with, like, when I learned how to really manage my mind, I deepened so many of my friendships. And then when I really learned about like what every friendship has, when I really learned about friendship research, it changed my whole entire life. I created like my dream group of friends. I like have this whole new confidence and like comfortability being myself with these people. I trust so much deeper. And so this was something that I really wanted to share with the world for so many reasons. One particularly being, you and I were talking about before recording, we often put so much stock in like maybe one basket, particularly maybe our partnership.
Mm-hmm.
And we're community creatures, right? Like our brain is still thrives off of community and connection, just as it did when we were cave people and we were in tribes. So putting all your eggs in one basket and trying to get all your connections met in one space just doesn't make any sense. It's so much better for our health, for like our like lifespan, and just for our quality of life if we are spreading out our connection and having friends.
Beautiful. Thank you. This is something I have been thinking about in regards to, as you know, I just had a baby, right? She's 3 months old. And I think it's so fascinating when we look at other cultures around the world and how, as the saying goes, it takes a village, right? It takes a village. And for many cultures, they have the village, right? They're surrounded with people. They're surrounded with aunts and uncles and cousins and grandma and a lot of help, right? For their little one, support for them. And unfortunately, we don't ascribe to that as much here, right? And I thought how wonderful that would be. And so I appreciate you making that point, because I think that we have this mentality here that we need to be able to be really independent and go it alone and, strong, resilient, all of these things. But really, we're not meant to be alone, right? We're meant to have a community. We're meant to have several people, not just one person that we rely on. So you touched on this a little bit, Jewel, and you said kind of the thought of putting all of your eggs in one basket. And that means it can be your partner, where you are completely dependent on all of your emotional needs with your partner. And in the case of infidelity, that adds extra strain, right? Because there's been a breach of trust. And not only is the romantic relationship hurt, like all of the pieces are fractured, are hurt. And sometimes those can be rebuilt with that person, sometimes not, depending on the situation, right? But what I find is people feeling so lonely, because if they put everything into that one relationship and not as much in other relationships, then what? Right? Would you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. So, we're talking about it in terms of like a partnership, but this is true even for like, I've seen some people be like, that's my best friend and that's it.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Wow.
So then what ends up happening is that when that, let's just say that like does go away, then you're left with like a huge connection gap. You're left with that loneliness. So having multiple people to go to is just very, very helpful just in that regard. But it's also super helpful and super important because one person can't meet all of your connection needs. It's going to be really hard the time that you really want to feel supported or the time that you're ready to have fun if you keep going to one person on that. Like, we all have lives, we all have internal worlds, right? And that person might not be ready or available. So an example of this might be the other day, like I was looking for support, like I knew I wanted to flesh things out. And I heard one of my friends said this saying the other day of, are you a chewer where you just think about it, or are you a spewer? I'm a spewer. I got to talk about it. And so
I love it.
I called one of my like what I call like my priority friends. And when they didn't answer, it wasn't like, oh, well, if I still want the support, now I have nowhere else to go. I have other people I can attend to.
Yep.
It takes a village, right, to raise a baby. But I also think it takes a village to get the support that you need, to have the fun that you want to have, to make the memories you want to make. I've gotten really into rock climbing recently. A lot of my friends aren't into that, and they don't have to be.
Yep.
Right? Because I can have maybe just a couple that will want to go do that with me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I love that. I just had a conversation with my daughter who's 18 and navigating adult life and friendships, and with a bunch of other 18-year-olds who are doing the same thing. Right. And so she's had some struggles come up, and she said to me something the other day that I thought was pretty profound. She has a boyfriend and they have a good relationship, but she said, I don't want him to be my only friend. I want to have lots of friends so that if something were to happen here, I have lots of other people to, to have fun, for support, for all the things. Right. And I'm glad that she's onto herself with that. Like, you got to branch out. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, as far as infidelity goes, and why do you think that people lose friendships sometimes around infidelity? Will you talk about that?
Yes. So I think multiple things could happen in this situation. I think losing friends, like you might have a friend who, regardless of what your choice is after the infidelity, right? Regardless of what your choice is for staying or like leaving or whatever it is, you might have a friend who might disagree with that choice. And sometimes I think in the world, something that I see that I just think is a little silly is that when we get like frustrated when our friends make decisions that we wouldn't make ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
Yep.
We'll get like frustrated, or I hear this often, like I keep giving her advice. She's not taking it.
Right.
She doesn't want to take it.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want to offer is, and sometimes like it might, if the other people in your life aren't happy with your choice, one, you can remind them they might not know that they have the option to love you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That might not even have like crossed their mind to like be there for you anyway, even though they disagree. So what I would say is, if like you can tell somebody's like, I think you should do this, I don't think you should do that, maybe you should approach it differently. It's up to you to get the support that you want to get. So you can literally say, I appreciate you caring about me and like being invested in what I do, but like I'm going to make the decision that I want to make, and I still want you to be there to support me. And vice versa, right?
Beautiful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that is like one thing that alone could save so many friendships. Because again, and it's not that your friends don't care about you or trying to smite you, right? It's just they might be like way too invested in your life. Like for me personally, I can think of an example where one of my long-term friends was making decisions I didn't agree with, and I noticed myself getting frustrated, and I was like, but why?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
It's because I want this friend to be happy, but I'm crossing over that boundary. That's none of like what she does is none of my business. My
Right.
job is to love her.
Yep. And I just want to point out to my listeners that it can go both ways, like whether you're staying or going. Like sometimes people will be really upset if you decide to stay and go, why? He doesn't deserve it. You deserve so much better, and be really judgmental there. And it goes the other way as well, of people thinking, why would you leave? You should stay. You should make it work. And so really we see this no matter what you do, no matter what you decide, you could likely have some friendships that shift, or where you need to have these conversations. And I love what you said there about just saying, hey, I understand that you don't agree with me, but I could really just use your support. Can you just be here, be my friend? I love, like, it's so simple, but so much of the time we just don't say it, right? We just let people go, and then there's false assumptions probably on either side and hurt on either side that's unnecessary, right?
Right, right. Yeah, one of the most intimate things you can do that we do with maybe our partnerships, like more often, one of the most intimate things you can do is be willing to talk about the relationship. So it might really increase like your connections with these people if you are willing to say, hey, I see you, and like, this is what I want from you right now.
Yep. I love it. Thank you. That's perfect. Okay. I want to ask you a question. What about if, as my clients are navigating infidelity, there are friendships that are no longer working, that are bringing more, like making it truly harder for them, bringing more pain? What to do? What do you recommend?
Yeah, I'm going to tie in also like your other question of why friendships change too. So I think if they are no longer working and like the friendship is no longer serving you, I would get really, really curious about why. And like try to be as objective as possible, because I'm just going to take a stab in the dark and guess that if you are in this place, like maybe where you are really hurt and feeling distrustful, your brain, again, like we talked about earlier, might be scanning for how other people, again, really aren't there for you. So I would get really curious about why this friendship is no longer working for you. So if it's something like they didn't say exactly what you wanted them to say, like that, you know what I mean, doesn't mean that this person is like a quote unquote bad friend and you have to not be friends with them anymore. It's just, again, like what we talked about, like asking for what you need. So I think that is huge all on its own. I will say, and I can really like almost empathize and understand that your brain is in that place where it's scanning for danger, scanning for possible mistrust, scanning for how people aren't really there for you. And I really want to encourage you to try to look at how your friends are there for you as a whole. When you think about all of your friends, how are they there for you? How are they supporting you right now? This might sound counterintuitive, like, oh, well, I'm just going to like become complacent with the friendships that are no longer serving me, especially like after the infidelity, right?
Yeah.
But what it's going to do is it's actually going to make it easier. One thing that you said, Andrea, when you were talking about your story is some friends disappeared and some friends really stepped up. I want to offer, like, noticing like the friends that really stepped up was probably so helpful for you. And if your mindset was in this place of like, people just aren't there for me, these friends suck, you might have missed that.
Yes. Right. I love that. Yeah. I think that's true.
Yeah. So looking for how people are there for you, how people are showing they care, it's going to make it easier for you to prioritize those people rather than not.
Okay. So if there is a friendship, somebody that has been a friend, but who like I'm talking about like crossing boundaries, like where it, like, let's say there's somebody that is constantly harshly judging, saying harsh things that are not helpful, not asked for,
right?
That are not helping you, that are not supporting you. What then?
Yeah. So then again, right, as you're looking for support in other places, with this person, so if they are, first of all, being really harsh with you, and that's not something that you want to tolerate in a friendship, I would offer for you, sometimes for some people, I call it like you get to move people down the list in a way. So sometimes it's like let's say this person goes to like the same church as you and you're still going to see them often. Maybe like just moving them down the list. And what I mean by that is like not spending as much time with them, not investing that much into that friendship anymore, and then just lowering it downward somebody you just see every so often. Or if you just straight up don't want this person in your life anymore, that's okay. What I want to offer is you don't have to demonize that person either. That's not going to actually make you feel better in the long run. So for boundaries, as far as that's concerned, identifying like when, like if they're saying like critical things, if they're really judging you, you get to like uphold that boundary and say like, this isn't something that I'm willing to like listen to and partake in. So if you're going to judge me or criticize me, like I'm going to end the conversation. Yep. Or if you're in the coffee shop, you can even say like, I will leave. So setting that up it doesn't mean that, like, again, this person is terrible either. Like, whenever somebody does anything, there's always a reason. And we don't have to love the reason. We don't have to agree with it. But if they're judging you, like, I want you to offer, like, what are they thinking, like, about themselves? What are they projecting onto you, maybe? Because it really, truly is never personal. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Thank you. Yes, I have talked before several episodes ago. It's been quite a while. I did an episode about changing relationships, just broad terms, how relationships can change. And one of the things that I mentioned is how when I was going through divorce, I did have some relationships change that were a surprise to me. And I think that some of the reasons why things change when we are dealing with hard stuff is that it hits too close to home sometimes for people, where it's just too painful for them to be around you because it reminds them of problems in their own life, things going on with them. And so they self-preserve and back off, right? Just to kind of keep themselves feeling safe. We're all looking out for our own safety, right? And so it can feel very personal, but it's really them having a fear response. Oh my gosh, if this can happen to her, my husband did this thing. Should I be nervous about this too? Like, they don't want to think about it. So they might just disappear, right? Yeah. So there's lots of different ways and reasons why these things shift, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay, a question I want to ask you is, I've heard it said many times, I've heard people say how much harder it is to develop friendships the older we become, the older we are. Like, we think of elementary kids and they just play on the playground, and then, the older we get, the harder it is to just go sit by somebody and chat with them. What do you think about that? Do you agree, disagree? Why?
Yeah. So as far as kindergarten goes and just walking up and making a friend, so I lived out of my car for a bit and traveled, and I was by myself. So one thing that I would do is talk to strangers. Now, all the moms that are hearing me say that, I also want to say I was very safe. I was very cautious, right? No need to worry. But yeah, I would talk to strangers because most people do want to connect in the world. Connection benefits everybody. Like, everybody wants to connect. Everybody wants to feel that way. You're never bothering somebody with offering up a connection, right? So first and foremost, if you want, I think you can talk to strangers. It's fine. I've made great friends traveling doing that. But secondly, yes, like, making friends as an adult, I hear that all the time, that it's harder. This is the only reason why it seems easier when we're younger. And that is because we have so much consistency in a set container with people. So if you're going to school, you're seeing the same people every day, right? Yeah. So yeah, you're going to get to really know these people. You're going to get to feel comfortable around these people, feel safe around these people. You're going to make friends, right? By seeing these people every day. It's the same thing with a work friend. You see that person every single day, right? That's how you created that work friend. So it seems easier when we're younger, but I also want to offer and remind everybody, when I was talking about my experience in college, I was around the same people every single day. And I still didn't feel like I had the close friendships that I wanted. So consistency is a huge part of it. And what you can do is you can create a container for yourself where you are interacting with people consistently, where one of my friends, every week they have a trivia night, and they go and she does that with her friends. So things like that, you can, even if it's a commute on your way home, let's say your commute is one of those 45-minuters, you get to call your friends and have consistency and connecting with your friends even during that time, right? It's about creating that consistent container for yourself. So that one will make it easier to have the deeper friendships that you want. And then two, when it comes to really making deep friendships, I think sometimes some people need to be in a place where they need to meet more people, or when they need to reconnect with people they might have fallen out of touch with. Really easy to do that. Sometimes most people, everybody who's listening to this knows somebody. You're not a hermit living off the woods, I assume. So you know people in your life already. Sometimes like just think about people that you like or people that you've fallen out of touch with and reconnect with them, make effort with them. That being aside, sometimes we need to do more of that. And sometimes people are also like me and they're like kind of overcompensating or will swing the other way and start overcompensating where they're like trying to be friends with everybody.
Yeah.
And so for that, I would really say like picking like 3 to 5 people that you want to connect with regularly can be so helpful, because what that's going to do, again, if we go back to consistencies, you're going to create more comfort and safety around these people and go deeper with these certain people.
Yep. I love that. I love that. One thing that I was thinking about when you were saying that is that I have had the opportunity to live in lots of different places and have moved around my whole life. And as an adult, have moved around a lot. And I think it's a misconception to think that we have to have all of our friends live right in the same community, see them all the time. My 3 to 5 people don't live here, like don't live in the same state as me. And they're spread out in the different places that I have lived. And I talk to them all the time. And it's not always picking up the phone. It's often Marco Polo. And then sometimes we'll have an actual phone call. But there's creative ways to go about maintaining friendships, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the same, like the idea that we have when we're younger of hanging out and going to eat and whatever. There's lots of different ways to maintain a friendship.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I want to offer, if someone's thinking they're too busy, like you have to go grocery shopping. You have to like cook at some point, or if you don't, but like, you know what I mean? So on some level, like think of the things that you're doing. And if there are people in your area that you want to be closer to, let's say, like just pick those things that you are already doing and just spend that time with somebody else doing it together.
I love it. I love that. A natural transition into inviting another person into your space, right?
Yes.
I love it. Okay. So a question I have for you, Jewel, is sometimes we do get hurt in friendships, right? Sometimes we do feel a betrayal. I had an experience in college where I was laying down on the couch and my roommate didn't know that I was there. Like she's who I shared my actual room with. And she was talking about me. And I thought that we were pretty close. And she was talking about me and not kindly.
Mm-hmm.
And it hurt. I remember laying there thinking I thought she was my friend. Mm-hmm. And fortunately, I got over that. And I thought, well, they're not, all my friends are not like that. Like, and I had some trust in my other friendships. But what if my clients have a situation like that where there already is some kind of a breach and then they're dealing with a breach of infidelity? I'd love for you to speak to the risk involved in putting ourselves out there to form new relationships in friendships.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think the risk involved is often what really scares us away, right?
Yep.
But you know, if you think about like both of the situations, like infidelity or listening and having your friends say unkind things about you and feeling betrayed, both of those things hurt, and you are okay. And you also knew and thought, okay, not all of my friends are like this, right? If we go back to the Pearl Harbor example I used earlier, not all people in your life are like that. So if somebody is going through that, or they do have a betrayal with a friend, I mean, I think you're in the best place to use the tools that Andrea is teaching you and helping you with. Like that can also be really helpful in a friendship as well. I think having a betrayal, it goes back to, you get to decide, is this something that I am okay with? Like, is this something that or even like maybe want to be okay with and move past? And if not, then not.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. And you can pick. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So I want to ask you, tell me, when you work with your clients, how do you help them make friends? What do you recommend? What's your process?
Yeah. Making friends, meeting people. So again, like I said earlier, everybody knows people. You've had conversations with women or like really anybody that you've really liked, and then you're like, oh, like that really never went anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Or yeah, like there were people that maybe used to talk to a little bit more. Maybe they never became like a super close friend, but you were like, I really like that person. So, what I want to offer is so often we think we have to start from scratch, and there's a place for that, right? There's a place for, oh, I want to meet new people.
Sure.
But what I want to offer is most of us are actually not starting from scratch. Most of the time, we don't need to meet new people. We just need to make an effort and be willing to have that risk, right? Be willing to have future hurt, be willing to be uncomfortable, be willing to be rejected, but to reconnect with people that we've already liked in our lives. So for me, one thing that I did when the pandemic hit was I realized when the pandemic hit that a lot of my friends were becoming moms, were moving away. And I was like, oh, like I want someone to like hang out in person with
Yes.
so what's happening? And what I did was I thought about people that I really liked and really connected with, but also people that reminded me of who I wanted to be in the world.
I love that.
And I did what I just told all of you guys about, like 3 to 5, and I would make effort with these 3 to 5 people. So around when the pandemic hit, it was just simple FaceTimes, and then little tip when you're on like a FaceTime or hanging out with somebody, you can just plan the next time to hang out with them, so you don't have to worry about the logistics. So I would do that, and with 3 of the girls, I got super close with. Now again, 3 to 5 people, I wasn't attached to who became like part of my world, but 3 of those girls are now that the pandemic's been going on for so long, like 2 years later, they are like my priority, like my closest friends, right? So I want to offer, most people are not starting from scratch first and foremost, but if you do want to go and meet new people, I think now we hear it all the time, like joining like a club or a group can be really helpful. But the reason why it's helpful, again, is because like if you have a book club, and even if it's like once a month, you are still seeing those people over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be easier to get to know them. It's going to be easier to feel comfortable with them, and so on.
Yep.
So finding something that you're interested in, or like having, even if it's just one day a month for yourself for meeting new people and bringing new people into your world, that can be so helpful all on its own.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I feel inspired sitting here listening to you, because there's wonderful people in the community I live in that I have had great conversations with, but it's not like a consistent hanging out with each other or on a consistent basis, spending time with each other. But there's people here that I for sure would love to be closer to. So I feel inspired. And I often have thought, I want more friends that live here, like that I can actually be with in person. Right. And so I think that I have my work cut out for me. And it doesn't feel like work. It sounds fun. It sounds fun to try harder, right? To build the support around me in my where I live locally. So yeah.
And it will take a little bit of effort, a little bit of being uncomfortable, right? But I want to offer the return on that investment is so much bigger than being like, well, it could be easier just to stay in and watch Netflix.
Yes, totally. Yes. I think that I do tend to go for, I'm tired, it's been a long day, or worked all day, whatever, kids need me, to kind of put those things off. But really, when we check in with what we need, we do need people. We need people, and we need support. We need to laugh. We need to have people that we can feel safe crying with, all the things, right?
Right. It's going to give you so much more energy in the long run.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. It's a deposit in something that's going to yield a really big return. Yes. I love it.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I think to wrap things up today, I just want to ask if there's anything else that you would like to offer my listeners about friendship.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that I would most like to offer about this is, especially as to the person who is like going through infidelity, I guess this last little piece is that when you're going to your friends, now there's one or two people, there's an overshare and there's an undershare. And I want to offer for my undershares, your friends care about you. They want to know what's going on in your in your inner world. And for my overshares, I want to offer that your friends are not your therapists. So yes, go to your friends and like ask for support, ask for spaces to talk. But one of the best things that we can do for our relationships is to make sure both people have time to be heard. So making sure that you have time to share, right? Like maybe if you are an undershare and you're not really talking about your experience and you want to, and your friend is a talker, it is just talk about all the things, make sure you say, hey, I really want to share what's going on here with you. And vice versa, if you typically are the oversharer, that's me, I could talk all day long, like making sure you also are asking, like, what is going on in your world? Because what that's going to do, especially as you are going through what you're going through with infidelity, is it's going to help you also know other people and like what's going on in their world, and feel it's going to almost like expand your mind from just the situation that you're currently in. So that's the last thing I would want to really add to that.
Oh, that's such a good point. I love that. You're right, because we can get so all consumed, right? All consumed with what's going on with us and kind of forget that, oh, other people have stuff going on too. And when we can hear from other people what's going on with them, take the focus off ourselves for just a minute, it can lift our burden, right? It can kind of lift it for a little bit and go, oh, I can think about something else and come away feeling lighter, even if it is listening to something that's difficult that somebody else is going through. I think there's a lot of comfort that comes just in knowing that, like, infidelity can feel so isolating. It can feel so, I'm the only one. What's wrong with me? Why, just, it can be very lonely. And so to hear from other people, their struggles, what they're going through, can just feel like, okay, I'm not the only one that's having hard things happen. Not that we wish hard things on other people, but to know that we're not some, isolated extreme thing over here. Like, we all have things that we're going through. And so I love that, giving space to ask, to receive, and also having the courage to share, right?
Yeah.
For those my listeners out there who keep it all to yourself, I know who you are. Like, that don't want to share, that want to keep it all in, try it. I'm challenging my listeners to try sharing, try opening up, and trusting your little tribe with some of your hard stuff.
What a beautiful challenge.
Yes, that's right. Okay. Well, thank you so much. I know I feel inspired. I feel inspired to go try harder to expand my friendships, to deepen my friendships. And I hope you listeners have taken from this things that will help you to broaden your circle, to give yourself the support that you need. And friendships make life more fun. They just make it more fun, right?
Exactly.
Like, getting past all the hard stuff, like, it's just fun to have friends to go get together with, go plan trips with, all the things, right?
Everything's better with friends.
It is. We're not meant to do this alone. So thank you again so much for being here, Jewel. And tell me how my clients can find you and learn more from you.
Thank you so much for having me. I could honestly talk to you all day long. So your clients can reach me at www.jewelhohman.com. So JEWELHOHMAN. And it's also at jewel.hohman on Instagram and Facebook. You can find like free videos and like tips and things like that over there.
Okay, awesome. And I'll have that all linked up so that my clients can find you easily. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for being here, Jewel.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Such a fun time.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast. If you would like to be kept in the know about upcoming free classes, new podcast episodes, and other ways of working with me, go subscribe to my weekly email. You can subscribe at andreagiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. Again, it's andreagiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. I will see you next time.